Welcome back to Politics for People. I'm Jimmy Fremgen. Today we're doing something that you actually asked for, and I'm going to help you work on how to identify and spot fake news. We're going to use 8 different keys that make your life a little bit easier when you're trying to figure out whether something's total bull. First, we're going to consider the source. And before you even look at the outlet that it came from, I want you to look at the article or whatever's in front of you and ask if it's an opinion or if it's actually news. If it's print media, there's a great little trick, and you can look all the way at the top, and I suggest that you try this by finding the editorial or the op-ed page or whatever outlet you're looking for. And they all have the same little key in there for you. At the very top of the article, sometimes next to the author's name, sometimes next to the headline, it'll say opinion, viewpoints, perspectives, something like that, that indicates that it's not hard news. It's an individual's perspective that may or may not line up with what that publication likes to put out there. So now you figured out whether it's opinion or news. I want you to figure out which news outlet it's from. Is it from the Wall Street Journal? Is it from the Post? Is it from the New York Times? Is it from your local paper? Is it from your local TV station? Like here in Sacramento, we have KCRA. Figure out where the original news outlet was. Once you can identify what the source is, you can start to unpack what their known bias is. For example, the Wall Street Journal is a primarily business-oriented newspaper that tends to lean right in its editorial pages, which is different than its reporting. The editorial page puts out an opinion. The reporting is supposed to be non-biased. You can also look at something like the Washington Post, which tends to have a little bit more left-leaning bias on their editorial page, but has been known pretty widely for their unbiased reporting, including during the Watergate scandal, when they were the ones that actually broke the scandal that eventually took Richard Nixon out of office. Second, I want you to check the author. Do a quick little Google search for their other work. Figure out if they have an existing body of work, or if this is the first article that they've put out. If it is, you gotta then figure out whether they're even a real person in the first place. And this isn't a knock against you rookie reporters that have got your first big lead, but you wanna make sure that the one piece that they wrote, the one piece that's in front of you, is actually reputable and has hard facts that are gonna be useful to you. If it's an opinion piece, doesn't matter. Step 3, check the date. Is it old news? Sometimes old news is great news. But it can be really, really frustrating when something that happened several years ago or months or days pops back up and is being offered as like something new and groundbreaking and different and gets everybody all riled up again. What? This is especially important with video. It is not uncommon, especially in the era of the internet where nothing ever goes away, to find a video that existed several years ago and may or may not be related to current events. Old videos can pop up unexpectedly and they seem really topical, but it's important to check the date on when it actually came out because it's not uncommon to take them and put a new date on it and pass it off as being current. That's a really dangerous part about the internet. It's great to have this incredible archive of content and news source material, but you have to be really on your game to make sure that you're not getting tricked. Next, I want you to check your biases and be honest with yourself because the only person you're fooling is you. The odds are your family already knows what kind of bias you have. I know who has the biases in my family, and they know what mine are. So I can tell that when certain chunks of my family get up and go to get second servings, that it's probably time for me to wrap up the tangent I'm on. I want you to read behind the headline. Headlines sell papers. If there's anything I learned about my favorite Disney movie that celebrates child labor, now not Mulan, yeah, that's the one. It's that headlines sell papes, or papers.
Look, I'm putting up the headlines, yeah, you call that a headline? I get better stories from the copper.
The more outrageous, controversial, and exciting the headline, the more likely it is to sell papers. We can go back more than 100 years ago to the beginning of the Spanish-American War, and we can actually trace the first gunshots in that war, which sent American soldiers to Cuba, to a newspaper article that said that the USS Maine had been attacked by enemies. Turns out it wasn't attacked by enemies. We went to war under false pretenses. Not like we ever do that in this country or anything. What does the story really say? And how do other sources cover it? Our next tip, are there supporting sources? Is this the only paper that you're reading it in? And let's be honest, you're not reading it in a paper, you're reading it online, or you're watching a clip that somebody put on Instagram, or a meme. Okay, that's fine, but are there supporting sources? Do other news sources have coverage? Are they reputable? Do they come from places that have won awards for their journalism? Or do they come from some guy standing in his living room? I also want you to keep an eye out for primary sources. A primary source is a document that is from the actual person or organization that's making the news. Great example of primary sources, especially that are related to current events, tend to be government reports, primary interviews, so like a direct transcript of what the interview was between the interviewer and the interviewee, or occasionally you can find primary sources on Twitter. Ugh. Our second and last point, I want you to think to yourself, could this be a joke? Now I understand, it's 2020. There's a lot of stuff in the news that would be much better if it were a joke. The fact that we can't go outside right now because the sky is neon orange would be a lot funnier if it was the San Francisco Giants launching a viral marketing ploy. But it's not. What it is an ongoing spread of global warming that has led to out-of-control wildfires and such incredible pollution that you literally can't see the sun. I'm smiling because otherwise you cry. The other question to ask is if it is satire. Have you ever read something in The Onion? That was satire. Satire is a way of criticizing people or ideas in a humorous fashion, especially in order to make a political point. The Daily Show, late night TV, all satire. Grounded with a basis of fact, but extrapolated to the point where you might actually find something funny instead of soul-crushingly sad. And last, I want you to ask an expert. Now, I know it's hard to find experts in 2020. We don't go outside, we don't talk to people, and it's hard to interact with a librarian through a solid sheet of plexiglass. But instead, I want you to use fact-checking websites to fill in the gap. One suggestion, and something that I enjoy using, is Snopes.com. Snopes says that they're the oldest fact-checking website on the internet, and I would love to know if that was true, but they're the oldest fact-checking website on the internet. If you're interested in politics, there's PolitiFact.com or The Fact Checker by Glenn Kessler, which is published in the Washington Post and has a huge database checking both liberal and conservative politicians over the last several years. If you want to start figuring out how news works and learning a little bit about how different organizations tend to cover the same kind of news, a resource that I like to use is a website called Allsides.com. Now, Allsides doesn't do their own original reporting. What they do is they evaluate existing news sources, rate them on a scale from far left to far right, and then provide you with a breakdown of how they're covering that issue. For example, you might have an article that says, Jimmy Fremgen was voted the sexiest man alive in 2020. On the far left, they might say, former congressional staffer for Elijah Cummings voted sexiest man alive. In the middle, they might say, unknown man standing in his living room voted sexiest man alive. On the far right, they might say, liberals elect former Democratic staffer, sexiest man alive. And they'd be right. If you're looking for some news sources, and granted, there is no such thing as unbiased news, but if you're looking for news sources that have historically been known to have reliable reporting, you can start with the ones that I use every morning when I get up. Every day I read the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post. I go to Politico for my political news, and then I hit up my local coverage with my papers, which are the Sacramento Bee, and then I check out KCRA. If I want to deep dive on something, and I often do, I go down the rabbit hole and I look at some other sources. But all of these papers have won awards for their reporting. A lot of the time given by news organizations that award and recognize both conservative and left-leaning papers. If you want more information, you can check the description below. I'm going to drop some information down there and some resources for you to get started, or visit jimmyfremgen.com for more. If you are enjoying these videos and you want to chip in, please consider visiting my Patreon, and I'll also include the link below. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, thanks for watching Politics for People. As you know from every YouTube video on the planet, I want you to do two things right now. I want you to subscribe, and I want you to like the post. Thumbs up button. If you're feeling really generous, hit that little bell down there to get notified when I make new videos.